morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. And today, we have a match preview. The Oxford tomorrow night at the Loftus Road Stadium. What should we start with? Disappointing, I would say, result on the weekend, but I would say it was a well-deserved point. With facing a difficult Sheffield Wednesday side, I would have presumed it would have been a tough game going there, but I think the result was fair. We had our opportunities, but I think we just looked so tired in some of the end of the first half, and then obviously refreshed with new players in the second half. So yeah, that is obviously done. We're gonna do match preview with Oxford now. Obviously, the manager is Gary Rowett. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. So yeah, let me just check this quickly. Cool, right, that's done. Yeah, so Gary Rowett is the Oxford manager, and the team form for Oxford at the moment is a bit of a weird one because obviously they beaten a very good Bristol City side, in my opinion. They beat them 3-1 a couple of weeks ago. They did. And it was away, in fact, it was. But the recent form, obviously, they've played Coventry at home, which was 2-2 draw. And they've also played Leicester I believe it was at home as well, and drew with them. Now, away form, though, can be pretty questioned because it's very 50-50. Now, obviously, going head-to-head with Oxford, it's been pretty much all QPR, but there's been some results obviously in the past that have not been great. So especially the result that we played them at their ground on the 29th of July in 2023, where we lost 5-0. But that's the only result I can see that I'm more worried about than anything in the head-to-heads. But that was a club friendly anyway, so I can't even say much. But anything in the championship, we've pretty much dominated and won. Now, what to watch out for with Oxford? Well, a usual Gary Rowett side is height in the box. It is. And they do have that in Will Lancashire and Prelec. It looks like they'll play a classic 4-4-2, pretty much what Julian Stefan does half of the time. And it looks like the majority of their form is coming from midfield with Brannigan and Dikizmaker, who are both looking really doing good this season. But like I said, the threat at the moment for us against Oxford is to watch out for is the crosses. So they seem to play a lot of balls into the box in the air, a lot like pretty much Sheffield United Wednesday did on the weekend, and they will be using Will Lancashire and Prelec a lot in the box. They will. So it's going to be a big threat, but I got a funny feeling the majority of the time of their matches, they lose momentum after a certain time in the game. So as far as I can see with momentum, they kind of killed down after the second half. They pressurize you in the first kind of 20 minutes, and then they kind of die down and relax. So we kind of don't want that to happen because that's where they're going to get their goals. If they put pressure on us a lot, then like the only tall person we have in that box is probably going to be Jimmy Dunn or Morrison. And Benge is not critically that hard tool, but he's more of a proper centre back and a runner as well at the same time, a ball playing defender. So in my opinion, we got to watch out for the wingers, and we got to look out for them crosses and set pieces because they're pretty dangerous with it. Long shot wise from Cameron Brannigan as well, really good long shot taker. We need to be careful with him. If he gets the ball in between that 25-yard box, if it's clear, he will take that shot 100%. But majority of the time, it's more set pieces that they score. Now, looking at us. Now, if you could, we'll go in straight into the team, which I predict, which should be, because we're going to rest a couple of players we are. Now, it's up there on the top right. So I've put Nardi in goal. I reckon, obviously, because listen, you can't. he made a fault. He did on the weekend, which I was really pissed about, and I'm not going to let him off with that one. Obviously, because Joe Walsh has been getting a lot of criticism as well this season about it, so that needs to be fixed up for sure. But he's the only keeper that I trust at the moment to be playing. Whilst Joe Walsh is injured with a fractured wrist and won't return till at least a couple more weeks. Now the back four, obviously it's going to stay the same. The energy that we consume at the back is pretty good. The only thing I would say is there must have been a reason why he took Mbenge off quite early in the second half of against Sheffield Wednesday. Like I said, possibly to rest him for this game, because it's a very must-need defense we need. So yeah, we got Dunn, who obviously does terrific at that right back. Morrison and Benge and Norrington Davis. It's our most informed back four and our best back four at the moment, I would say. But obviously, as word is said, there is a chance that Clark Sowa will return tomorrow night, and a likely chance that he will be on the bench if that is the case. But Julian has said in an interview today that the likely chances are he will wait and see what happens in the final training session, which would have been probably today. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night, if we hear anything, or if he's on the bus or he's on the coach, whatever you want to say. But it would be good to see him back after a long time out. So all the best to him. Hopefully he can see what happens tomorrow. Very, very talented centre back, and he's got the height as well, which we would need for tomorrow anyway. But we don't want to rush him in, because obviously if he gets injured again, we're pretty screwed, and it's not going to be great for him, because at the time when he was on form, he was worth a lot of money, and yeah, he would have been great if we sold him and got that money for him. But not trying to be negative on him, because he is a great centre back. But I think with QPR, we kind of did the Brighton thing, where if injuries are going to keep going, then you know we're going to end up letting you go. But fingers crossed tomorrow night or Saturday we hear some good news, and yeah, hopefully fingers crossed that's the positive side. Now moving on to midfield, obviously Hayden and Field is what I've put there. Now the reason why I've put Hayden and Field is because Madsen has done incredibly well, and I feel like he just needs a break. You know, typically with now it's like a three day week. I think Madsen, with Julian, he likes to rotate his team when it comes down to playing the games, a Europa League, Champions League, and then playing the game. He will rotate it quite a bit. Obviously, he has said it in the interview as well. But those are the two midfielders I think that will suit well right now, because it's Oxford. I'm not really worried about Oxford that much as we're at home, because we need to keep our home form pretty good this season. And I just think Field would be a good replacement for tomorrow night for Madsen. Just give him a rest and just get him on if we need him. Possibly a Kieran Morgan, maybe. We'll see what happens. But I definitely think Hayden deserves a first team opportunity. Resting Varane would be a good shout, but like I said, he did take Varane off as well at the second half, so the likely chance of Varane will probably be playing. But I think, in my opinion, Hayden and Field would be a good suitable candidates for tomorrow's game. Just forgetting, I think Bristol City is the biggest threat that we have for the weekend. We do, and I think we need Varane and Madsen fit for that game. So if it means bringing out some of the seconds, then Hayden and Field would be great, I think, in that midfield against Oxford on tomorrow night. Hayden will be our holding midfielder, and Field will be our distributor, like Madsen, pretty much. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Field can have a better game if he does play. I know Madsen, his form at the moment is keeping him out, so we'll see what happens on that behalf. Now, the three behind the striker, which I would put, would be Dembele, Burrell and Vale. Now the reason why I've chosen that three is Sato needs a rest. We need Sato for Bristol City, just because of pace down the wing against Bristol City. The reason why I've chose Dembele on the right is because I just don't think he does well on that left. So Dembele deserves a game. He's looking sharp. He's looking all right when he comes on the field. Just want to see what he does, and I think Oxford United would be a good shout. And I believe Oxford United is where obviously his brother plays for. So yeah, I think it'll be a good shout for Dembele to be playing on that right wing. Burrell. Now, the only reason why I've put Burrell there is because energy. I think he'll be a good player just to perform with Frey instead of Kone. Just to be a supporting striker, and also an energy, obviously with the pace and energy and the strength he consumes, it'll be a good, if we do wing play goals, then he'll be a good player to hold back behind Frey or run into the wings to provide for Frey in the middle. So I think Burrell for me will be a good middleman instead of Kone. I would probably bring Kone on in the second half for Frey or something like that, changing it up, see if how we do. Vale on the left. Now Vale is a true left midfielder, left-sided player. That's his natural position, and I just think he'll perform a lot better, even though he's done well on the right. Like I said, he's an all-round midfielder and he could do so well everywhere. But I think Vale will be better on the left. And I think the reason why I've chosen him is because I think to help out the midfield as well, if it comes down to defensive ability, he could push into a 3 in midfield, not just a 3 or 4 running up front. So he can provide and help Field and Hayden in defensive abilities as well on that left hand side, just by helping Norrington Davis, maybe an overlap or something like that. But Vale will be a great, I think, strength, height wise, for in the box, and his accuracy and shooting from long range will be decent for us, just because I think Oxford United really can't command their defensive ability that well. They're like a classic championship team where they don't play the ball out, but they like to hoof it out there. So I would say, in my defence, I think Vale might be a good runner to go forward with that. Then up front, Frey. The only reason why I've chosen Frey is I think we want to see Frey play. Just giving him a chance, see what he does. And I think for the height and the crosses that we should provide in the box, type of goals we need to score against Oxford, I think he'll perform well for us on the day for that. I think he will work well, Burrell. Honestly, I think he is a different striker to what Kone is, but I think Burrell could help him with the overlapping if it does come to the case of needing running. Because Frey's not the paciest guys, but he is great in the air. He's got great accuracy, great head, power, and he's resilient in front of goal. He is, he rarely misses opportunities when he does take that shot. So I think Frey would be a good shout up, just to give him a chance on a Wednesday night. And then obviously we need Kone fully rested for Bristol City, in my opinion. So that's my team. What I think it would be best, obviously, against Oxford United. I wouldn't say they're the best club in the Championship, but they are an awkward club in the Championship where they do get some results from great balls into the box from set pieces and stuff like that, and that's where the attack is going to be for, against us. When they deliver those balls in there, it's going to be a big issue for us, especially if we don't have height in there. Morrison, he sometimes makes a clumsy mistake because of his height, and he tends to be on the wrong side of the player. So I would say possibly we need to watch out for that, and that's pretty much it with set pieces and the squad. Obviously I can't really say much about substitutions and stuff like that. They haven't actually announced the referee yet who's going to be there, so until I know the referee, then hopefully it's not someone I hate. But yeah, it's down at the Loft, so like I said, home games are important for us this season. It's going to be really good to see us with our home form, and I believe we'll win. I think it's going to be, prediction wise, I think we're going to have a nice little 3-4-0 win. I reckon. I know it's a bit loud to say, a bit of a hefty result, but we've had good times against Gary Rowett. I think every time we play Gary Rowett, it's not been easy, but it's been a win, and it's been a good result. I think the only time really that he was a dangerous threat was when he was at Millwall, and when he was at Millwall, he had the players and stuff like that. With Oxford, he only has a few players that I would say are pretty quality. Their defense pretty much Heelek is the only one in the middle, like midfield wise. Brannigan and Planchetta. Apparently the Keersmaker is really good, so keep eyes on him. But the only threat that I'm worried about is Will Lancashire. Obviously we all know what he's like at Tottenham. You know, he's a good youngster. You know, he has some resemblance to some of the potential that comes out of Tottenham. Like, I wouldn't say Harry Kane, but a lot of the time I've been told Parrot, players like that, you know. But we'll see what happens on the day. Fingers crossed we can defend that box and command that box pretty well. We can. Now obviously if we get the result, we're only what, 11, 12, 13, we're literally 3 points off second. We are. And if results go our way tonight and tomorrow, happy days. You know, we got Bristol City on the weekend. That's going to be a tough game. I'm worried about that one because obviously Bristol City are a really good side, looking like a really up top club now, where they should be, where obviously I can't remember who the manager was at Bristol City, but they are a really good club when it comes down to the right manager, and you know, they bring some good young talent into the club. So yeah, that's the only club thing I'm worried about is the weekend, but I reckon it's going to be a really good result tomorrow. So yeah, apart from that, I can't really say anything about our form because our form is pretty good. I'm happy with it. The interview with Julian, he seems confident about tomorrow, and I would say I think he will put the right team out. But my main concern is, will he play Clark-Salter, or will Clark-Salter even be on the team sheet? So yeah, it'd be very good to see him on the team sheet, but like he said, he doesn't want to rush him, doesn't want to get him injured again, because he'll probably be out for another hefty time. But fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But he has said, the good news is he said Poku and Ilya, depending on how they do, they might come back before international break. You never know. So yeah. Right, chat. All right, cool. Someone's been spamming chat. Clap your hand, look at chat. Okay, H, I'm a bit confused what you're saying, mate. You want to clarify? Okay, fair enough. Right. What else is there to look into, really? Nothing much. I think I've broke down. Top scorer for Oxford is Will Lancashire at the moment with 3 goals. Cameron Brannigan with 2. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. So yeah. Apart from that, hit your comments down below if you want to. That's up to you. We'll be live tomorrow night. We will, against Oxford. Hopefully we might be even on early. We'll see what happens, just for a chat. But fingers crossed we get the result. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and we'll catch you tomorrow night. Good luck. Cheers. Bye.